Yo, welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Charlie Newhart Show. Like and subscribe if you like real content. If not, just get off. I ain't doing it for likes and subscribers and views. I'm doing it for the real. You know what I'm saying? So, favorite cars. Type in the chat what your favorite car is, whether you owned it or you looking to get it. I've owned all kind of old schools. My favorite one was a 75 Delta 88 drop top, all white interior. Rim sounds. Second favorite was a Photo Cutlass with the big block 454 in it on 24s. I love Oldsmobiles with Chevy engines in them. It's probably like my go-to thing. Snatch out that rocket. Now, I did own a Regal. I took that weak little 307 out. First of all, as a man, you get an old school, you're supposed to take out the factory 305 and the factory 307. Don't put Flowmasters and duals on a 305 or 307. And especially don't take the intake off and put a new intake and a cam on a 305. That's weak. You know, that's an estrogen type move. You get old school, you yank that 305 out of that 307. Okay? 350 Vortec, LS motor. You know, and if you got big stones like me, you do a big block, 454, 60 over. You know what I'm saying? Oval port heads. You know what I'm saying? Put a nice intake on there. You could either do one or two. I'm not a fuel injection, like you got to do fuel injection. You could do a 650 double pumper, Holly. You know what I'm saying? 2500 star. You know what I mean? Turbo 350 trans or turbo 400. That's what I had on the 454. 3-inch exhaust. Don't put a LS motor in your car or a big block and have 2-inch exhaust. You've got a small kit if you do that. You need 3-inch exhaust. You know what I'm saying? Headers. Stop with the putting duals on exhaust manifolds. Get you some headers. You're going to get an extra 35 to 50 horsepower just by putting headers on your car. So, old school enthusiasts, because it's a lot of y'all new old school enthusiasts that just got in the game in the last 5-6 years, and y'all driving the prices up. Y'all get on my nerves because you don't even know what to do. Take out the 305 and the 307. All right? 350 Vortec LS1 headers. Put you a cam in it. I mean, if you really want to get real, put forged internals. You know what I'm saying? Forged pistons, forged crank. You can only put you're only supposed to put nitrous when you got forged internals. People put nitrous on cast pistons and you blowing your motor because the difference between look up the difference between forged and cast. I don't want to give you all the game. You got to look it up. But if I was you get into the old school game, get under the wing of an old school big homie, man. Somebody that's been in the game 20, 30, 40 years, he'll guide you. It's just so many young hardhead dudes getting in the game and we laughing at you when we pull up and we can't even hear your car, but you got rims and sounds and you got that factory 307 in there with Flowmasters and we can only hear you when you stab off barely. It's like, come on, that's 2-inch exhaust manifold on the 307, but you done put 26s and sounds. Stop it. If you can't do a donut at the intersection, both wheels spinning and smoke your sixes, you know what I'm saying? You got the wrong motor, dog. And here's the deal. I'm going to walk y'all through this process. You don't even need to spend crazy money. You could go to the junkyard and get a big block out of a old RV, a 454 or like a 93 Suburban. You take I'm talking about running. Now it's going to be heavily torqued because it's used to pulling stuff. Change the cam. You could get a 454 from a junkyard out of a RV or camper for about $400. Running. And all you got to do, you can get a Elderbrock Performer intake. Go on jegs.com. You change your cam. You know what I'm saying? Get you something that's not so much torque down. And in some cases, you'll pull it out. It'll have a turbo 350. I like turbo 350s and turbo 400s. I'm not a fan. I don't need overdrive. I don't need the 460 LEs or the, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, turbo 350, turbo 400, and they becoming a little bit more rare to find. I pull one out running. Intake, I put a carb on it. You know what I'm saying? You might have to change the drive shaft. Definitely you want to change the rear end. That's one of the mistakes I made. I put the 454. My Cutlass had a 350 in it first. I put a 454 in it, turbo 400 trans. It was a 70 over 454, all fours internals, oval port heads, and it was a posi rear end, but it was like the pig was weak, the gears was weak, and I went to stab on that boy at the light, shredded all the gears, and then that's when I put a 410 gear in the Cutlass. So listen, if you want to get into the old school game, you need to holler at me. I've been doing this since I was 15. I got 30 years in the game. And really, I got a small percentage of what my dad got. He's the hot rod king. He was racing cars in the 70s, up and down Livernois in Detroit, French Road on the east side, Wayne Road and Romulus. My dad was the race king. Everybody knew him. Still know him. We was at Detroit Dragway every weekend growing up because he had a Camaro with a big block in it. Like, he would race and win money. And it was just, some stuff is caught, not taught. Like, I was putting brakes on cars when I was 12, changing oil 13. I mean, it's amazing how many men now don't even know how to change a tire. You know what I'm saying? Brakes go out on my car. I jack it up and fix the brakes myself. You're not charging me nothing crazy. All you need is a C-clamp. You know what I'm saying? The appropriate tools, jack. Change your own brakes, man. I changed my own starter. But old school game, need to holler at me. So look, the type of cars you want. I've had all old school cars you can think of. Cutlass, Monty, Regal, Delta 88. All the Pontiacs, Grand Prix. I done had them all the motors. So what I would like is, what I've never had is maybe like a 72 Caprice. Anywhere between 72 and 76 Caprice. Big block. Shoes. Drop top or four door. As far as newer cars, Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I definitely want one of them. It's like $500,000. That's the dream car. If I get, let's just change it. When I get a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, I'm also going to hire somebody to speak to people for me. You can't even talk to me directly when I get out of the Cullinan. Hey, Charlie. Talk to Tony. You got to talk to Tony, and then he'll talk to me. He'll tell me you can't speak to me directly. And I'll specifically have it written in Tony's contract that every now and then I just slap him in the back of the head. Shut up. Maybe he's my driver. Yeah, you can't talk to me. You can't talk to me when I have a Cullinan. Hey, Charlie. Tony be like, hey, you talk to me. It's like, what was that on Goodfellas? When Paul Cicero got to the point where you couldn't even talk to him. You couldn't talk to him directly. You had to talk to his assistant, and his assistant would relay all the messages. Like, you can't even talk to me. Everywhere I go, you talk to Tony. Or well, I'd probably make it a female. Then that means I can't hit her upside the head. It'd probably be a female because I don't want to get into a shay-shay situation where people think my assistant is also something else. So I'm like, nah, it'll be a lady. I have a lady translator with me at all times. And, hey, don't talk to Charlie. Talk to me. Talk to the lady. You know what I'm saying? All questions directed to the lady, and she'll talk to me. You can't talk to me directly. I just got out of a $500,000 Cullinan. Excuse me? Talk to Margaret. And she'll probably have an old slave name, too. Like, you better talk to Harriet. Direct all your questions to Harriet. So, yeah. Let me know in the chat what kind of old schools you've had, your dream old school car, and your dream new car. Like when you really, really get the bag, the type of car you want. Now, I do like the long sleeve V-Series. Escalade V-Series, one with the supercharger. That boy dope. But I just can't wrap my mind around like $200,000 for an American-made truck That's why I don't understand. I watched this video of a dude in a GMC Sierra taking up 2 parking spaces close to the front, and somebody was challenging him on it. He was like, "It's a $70,000 truck. Like, you paid 70 grand for a GMC Sierra, bro? I can't believe Ford F-150s is 50, 60, 70,000. It's unreal. Y'all know if you stop buying stuff, the prices will go down, right? It's y'all, the American public, that feels the need to just go get and go shine. Y'all driving up the prices of houses and automobiles. But if you just stop, you know what I'm saying? The prices have to go down. The only reason the prices are staying where they are now is because y'all spending the money on them. Prices of old schools, unreal. Y'all spending way too much money for stuff. Just stop. Why do you care about the shine? I drive anything. I'm just not overpaying, especially since my dad owned a car lot. There's no way, from the prices that I've seen at auctions, there's no way I could be paying what y'all paying for some of this stuff. You leasing. Look, I know somebody that got a Chevy truck. He paying $1,200 a month for a car that sits in the parking lot while you at work. Pickup truck, and you're not even using it to make money. I think we're dealing with some of the dumbest consumers ever in America. Not just America, the world. The dumbest consumers. What people are paying for stuff. And it's like, it's just inflation. You got to get it. No, you got to wait. Drive something else. Drive the car you bought 5 years ago. Why you got to upgrade to the new model right now and prices is as high as they are? You know they got to come down. Well, maybe they won't if y'all keep being dumb and buying them. I'm all set. I'm definitely all set. I got a theory of mine. If I go to an Usher concert and my girl is with me, and if Usher asks her to go on stage and she turns to me and says, "Can I go?" the relationship is over right there on the spot. What do you mean? You gonna ask me to go on stage? The relationship is over, and then I'll say yes, because you gonna go on stage, but I get to go too. And I'm going crazy on all the background dancers on stage. I'm going to completely outshine you. Why would you want to go on stage with Usher and some herpes jump out of his pants onto you? Some bed bugs jump off his body onto your body while you on stage. I don't know if y'all know that's how herpes work. It could jump out of his pants onto you. The only way you can dance with Usher on stage is if you wear a hazmat suit. That's the only way you can go on stage and dance with Usher. You're not about to come back to me with bed bugs. You infected the whole house. You infected now. Your clothes is everything on you's infected. Your man Usher's been giving herpes to men and women for 30 years, and now you want to go put a hazmat suit on. As a matter of fact, and the oxygen mask and the hazmat suit so nobody sees. That's the only way my girl can go on stage and dance with Usher is if you got a hazmat suit on and like the painter's mask that covers your whole face so nobody will be able to know. Who is that girl dancing on stage with Usher with that hazmat suit? I don't know. Smart woman, though. Look, I got something else that I'd like to call it the little homie syndrome. You want to know what the little homie syndrome is? The little homie syndrome is when somebody has been in the background, been in the shadows, and they've been bitter about somebody that's in front of them or above them that's successful. You know, you see it in like duos, comedy duos, rap groups, even on business. There's somebody in the shadows that he or she is verbally affirming you, but internally hating you. And they don't want. I heard Corey Holcomb say this. He said sometimes people don't want what's theirs; they want what's yours. And one of my favorite chapters in the Bible says every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights. Everybody has gifts. Everybody. But sometimes we so focused on somebody else's gift, not our own. We want theirs and not our own. And you can have some people in the shadows who just watching you shine. They're watching you bubble. They're envious of whatever your gift may be. And then when the tables turn and they get this opportunity, they so selfish with the opportunity, and the opportunity is big enough for everybody to eat off of. But the opportunity, when they get it, they've been so bitter about the person or people who got it before them that they just hoard it to themselves. Right? This is my theory is this is the same with like the Kenan and Kel situation. We watch Kenan and Kel come up, they both had a similar comedy style, but like Kel was always better to me. Kenan was funny. I ain't taking away from his gangster, but Kel was always funnier, always. And it was like, maybe they didn't want that, but they were always put together in comedy shows and specials and movies and blah, blah, blah. But we always intrinsically knew Kel was a little better. He was a little better. And I feel like, I don't know these people personally. This is just my opinion. But I feel like Kenan got tired of being in the shadows of Kel. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he got an opportunity with the show, with Saturday Night Live and some other things, and then just start distancing himself from everybody, especially Kel. And to me, maybe there are more details in this that I don't understand, but you get an opportunity in a bag like that on that show, at least after a year, 6 months to a year, you should be reaching out. So apparently maybe he's doing that now with the new Good Burger, whatever. Maybe it took a little bit more time, but I just feel like for a good 10 plus years, he was just like, I'm the man now. I was in the shadows. I'm talented too. And I think Dog is talented, but I always thought Kel was a little bit funnier. But I just think Kenan had, he got tired of being the little homie. And once he became the big homie, he said, forget everybody. And I see that so much. They say forget everybody. And then 10 plus years later, they start to feel remorseful. They start to feel bad about that choice. Let me circle back. Let me circle back and help. There's a rapper, Detroit, T Grizzly. T Grizzly is very talented. Great music, great. He's underrated in my opinion. Just great songs. I love his music. When First Day Out came out, whole city was turned. I feel like he helped shine a spotlight on the city, and he helped shine a spotlight on the city and change the game of Detroit rap. I feel like T Grizzly was responsible for that. But he was in a group called All-Star Ball Hard years ago. You know what I'm saying? And to me, All-Star JR was kind of was a little bit of a better rapper. And I feel like Grizzly may have been in the shadows like, I can shine too. I can rap too. But I feel like he may have been the little homie. You know what I'm saying? And he in the shadows and he watching these people shine, watching them bubble. And everybody else is getting on. And then he caught the case. He was smart with his case, and he was diligent when he was locked up. And as soon as he came out, he did the song and he blew up. Right? First day out. But the little homie syndrome is like, now I'm on now. Forget all of y'all that I was envious of. And his whole crew, you know what I'm saying, didn't bring him with him. Even All-Star JR got a song like, my man took off, had the nerve not to take me. And that's when you see like success and money, it don't change you, it reveals you. Now, I ain't taking away from Dog's gangster. I ain't taking away from his music. Incredible artist. But when I watch how Dog moves sometimes, I'm like, man, that's little homie syndrome, man. He was in the shadows and was bitter. Then he got on, forget all of y'all. We see it so many times. People get on and it's like, man, forget all of y'all. I'm done. I watched it at a dealership. I watched these two people at a dealership I worked at in Santa Monica. And I met some really great people. I had some really great opportunities. They let me work part-time. They was very flexible. But I saw like one person that was running the dealership, super, like he was a tyrant. He was cussing people out. He was one of the toughest people to work for ever in my life. You know what I'm saying? good dude at the core, but I just think he was held onto some bitterness. And then I found out that, you know, he was the one that was in the shadows. It was somebody that was above him that always ran everything, that got the women, the money, you know, all the dealerships wanted him to run. Like this guy, I never forget his name. His name is Rhett Butler. He's one of the top salesmen in Chrysler history. Like he sat down with Lee Iacocca, had a cigar, and was like, trips around the world, one of the best and one of the greatest car salesmen, managers in the history of Chrysler. And he was always the top guy. So then he stepped away from the business for a while. Then when he came back in, he was under now he's working for the guy who was always under him. And this guy was a tyrant. And I'm like, that's a little homie syndrome, the way he's behaving. I'm the man now. F all of you. I'm running this. I'm running this. I'm running this. So you got to be careful. Now, all of these great men at the core, but I feel like if you get caught up in some bitterness about people who get on before you or when it's their turn, I feel like everybody gets a turn. So when it's when it's other people's turn around you, if you're not careful, you'll be envious of their successes, their influence. And you got to just know deep down it's a river. It's not a pie. I'm never upset when I see somebody else on. It's like it's their turn. And praise, I get excited. Praise the Lord. It happened for them. One day it's going to happen for me because I got to get a turn. It's a river. But when you're bitter, you have a pie mentality. You think it's only, you get a bag, you get opportunity. You don't even want to share the information. Like, no, now that's not the way currency, it's called currency because it's current. It's supposed to flow. Information is the same way. But when you begin to close it off, when you become the dam to close it off, it's like now you stopping blessings from coming your way too. Because now when that other person gets a turn, the way things are supposed to be is if everybody's free flowing, when everybody gets a turn, they're given to those around them. So everybody in the circle bubbles. You know what I'm saying? It may be John's turn. He got a 3-year bubble. He popping. Everything he touched turns to gold. And he understands that. And it's like, all right, now while I'm popping, let me produce. Let me open up other doors for these people around me. And then out of 1, 3, 4, 5 of the people, oh, boom, then Curtis blows up. But while he's blowing up, now he's spreading the love amongst everybody. It's like that's how you get generational wealth. Everybody gets a turn. But if everybody that gets the turn is in your circle, you get a part of the turn too. So be careful about the little homie syndrome, dog. You know what I'm saying? And do I think people can come back full circle? I think so. You know what I'm saying? It's been times where I done blew situations. I blew a bag. I remember I was doing this stage play with my friends years ago, 20 plus years ago. We was doing these little churches, these little shows, and all of a sudden it just blew up. And an investor came and gave us the money. And man, I'm telling you, when he gave us that money, he gave it to me. When he gave me that money, I was just like, oh, it's all about me now. I wrote this. We're going to do it my way. And I tanked it. I got the bag and I made it all about me and I wrote it. And it's just like, it was several components in what made the play great. It was called Ain't No Stopping Us. It was largely my life story. I wrote it, but another component was the chemistry amongst us that were behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? One of my homies directed. He was an amazing director and actor. Another one of my homies was the songwriter, and we all acted in it. So it wasn't just my story and who I was. It was also the chemistry of all of us together that was the draw. And in the first place we did the show was at my homie's church. So when that bag touched down, I mishandled it. I mishandled it so bad. I mean, I was at the club. It was a gospel play. I'm at the club drunk with 20 people with me promoting a gospel show. And I ain't gonna lie, man, God judged me. It fell apart. It was an amazing life lesson for me, which turned me into the man that I am now. You know what I'm saying? Because we live and we learn, and I love life experiences. Like, oh, okay, I see where I jacked up. Let me apologize to everybody. Maybe I had the little homie syndrome. You know what I'm saying? I was used to seeing some people bubble, and I wanted it because I'm talented too. And as soon as I get a shot, I was like, man, this is it's mine. It's my show. I wrote it. Put me on the flyer. I'm on this, and I'm running this, and I'm at the club promoting, and it was wrong. I learned from it. Great life lesson, man. Our life is successes and failures, but it's never a pie. For some reason, that little bit of money 20-something years ago, I looked at it as it was a pie. But I hated my own circumstances. I was working on the assembly line at Ford. I hated it. I was in a relationship that I hated. That's the woman who tried to unalive me. I was just, my personal life was just in shambles, man. So when you get a bag or opportunity and your personal life is trash, it'll just amplify whatever you got going on. So, yeah, we're going to go to a commercial break. Hey, hold on. Hey, where you going in at?
To the Usher concert.
What you mean to the Usher concert?
I'm going with my girls to the Usher concert. It's tonight. I told you about it.
Yeah, you told me, but I didn't know. Why you wearing that?
He's going to put me on stage.
If he pulling you on stage, I'm going too.
Well, come on in.
All right, let's, I'm getting dressed. I'm going.
Me? Can I go on stage?
Well, Usher?
Yeah, he's calling me on stage. This is a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah, she can come on stage if I can come too. Yeah. I want to be able to come on stage, and while you dancing with my girl, I'm going to violate all your background dancers, all of the ladies, man. I might pee on one of them on some R. Kelly type stuff.
Never mind. Cut it.
What? Let's go on stage. No, I want to go on stage.
Charlie, I really want to get to know you people. We're going to do a Juneteenth celebration. Can you write a poem for us?
I don't really write, so I'm going to pass on that.
So if I get a bunch of you blacks here in the office all together, can you choreograph an African tribal dance? You know, for your roots. You do know your roots, don't you, Charlie?
No, not really.
Well, why the heck not?
Well, there was this thing that happened called slavery. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So, I ain't never been to Africa, man. I'm from Michigan.
Michigan, huh? You know, there were two blacks that used to work here from Chicago named Jamal and Michael. You know those guys?
Look, man, I don't know man, all right?
Hey, one last question. Do you got a big mama that can make some ribs for the Juneteenth celebration?
Man, you know what?
Hey, just so you know, I got BET Plus on all the TVs in the break room now, Charlie.
Yo. So, in 1967, Ronald Reagan was the governor of California, and he decided to start closing the mental health institutions, the psych wards, closing them down, saying, you know, there's no need for these anymore. What I want to do, this is what he said, I want to start making smaller facilities in communities so communities can rally around these people who need help. Only problem is he closed the facilities down and didn't fulfill his promise about opening up the ones in smaller communities, right? So he closes down the mental health facilities. And if, you know, you follow the United States and the economy, California does something and then a lot of other people follow suit. So this trend started in the 60s and it just spread into the 90s where states began closing psych wards, mental health hospitals, mental health institutions, saying, hey, you know, to keep these people here is inhumane. We don't have the funds for it, blah, 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 blah. We're going to also open up smaller facilities. And nobody fulfilled their promise. Nobody fulfilled their promise, right? So what ended up happening is you close these facilities down. Where do these people go? Especially if you're closing it down under the auspices of building another facility that doesn't get built. So what happens is these people start trickling into society with severe mental health issues. We're talking about schizophrenia, you know, all this wild. So what ends up happening is some of these people at the same, it's weird because you say on a state level, you don't have the money. It's not financially sustainable, but you start building prisons at the same time. So that's where these people, prisons start to become a dumping ground for the mentally ill. You know, They're making these choices whereas before they had a home, they had a place to go, they had a facility to go to, get some treatment, go out, kind of like a home base. You go out, do your thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, man, you know what? I'm feeling a little stressed. I can't handle it. Let me go check myself into the hospital. Used to hear that 60s, 70s, 80s. Let me go check myself into the hospital for a week. Probably, type it in the comments. There was probably a home or mental health facility in your neighborhood or where you grew up that got shut down. Michigan, it was in Northville. And I know Governor Engler in 1997, like we was one of the last. Governor Engler in 97 shut down all the mental health facilities, same way Governor Reagan did in 67. He was 30 years late, but same thing. Shut them down, no place for the people to go. So these people start mixing into society. They start having kids. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of what we see now, where it's like, what's wrong with this generation? What's wrong with these people? These are the kids of the people who got let out of these mental health institutions and didn't have nowhere to go. Because you can't tell when you look at somebody. Craig say something that's so on point. He said mental health should come with a cough. Like some way to be able to tell, like, oh, you got that. It's very well symptoms of the flu, you can tell. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got a cold, you could tell, like certain symptoms, like, oh, you dealing with that. Mental health illness, you can't tell till you in it. And listen, y'all know my story. I've picked wrong for so long so that I know how to pick right. And I have been in relationships. I was in a relationship with a woman who did not disclose her mental illness. We was taking it to the next level. We in the same house, and I'm wondering why this and this and this, and she doing this, and it was just like internal chaos. And then finally she admitted, oh, I'm dealing with this, and this, and I'm on medication for it, and I've decided to stop taking my medication, and that's why. What? You know what I'm saying? And the woman that tried to unalive me, I already know she has some mental health concerns, and it's like, I wasn't taught how to pick. Now, the other argument is you need to pick better. Okay, what happens when you're not taught how to pick? Or what happens when you vain? That was one of my issues. I was vain. I was picking on looks. I want the baddest thing. I want to walk in the room and, you know what I'm saying, everybody, this is she with me. In a lot of cases, the craziest broads got the best vagina. So I'm like, yes, everything, man. I'm on the freeway and she taking care of me. So these people started to mix into society, slowly but surely. Just think, and it takes a while. Now, when you go back generations, all you got to do is just go back a few generations to kind of understand where we are now. Like if you go back 40, 50 years, you don't hear words like autism. You know what I'm saying? These are new terms. So these newer terms, and a lot of it has to do with nutrition. I think it's a 3-part deal of where we are now as a society. Because first of all, when the pandemic happened, it removed a layer of humanity because everybody was forced to be in their house for 2-3 years. And then all of a sudden, and they scared the mess out of us every second. You got a running ticker in the corner of the news showing, people who have been unalived due to this. And now it's at 1 million. Now it's at 1,000,005. You got this running number in the corner, right? Now you're threatened if you got to take the vaccine. If you don't take it, then you're forced to be in our house, not being around people, and being frightened every step of the way. And then all of a sudden, guys, everything's okay. Go back to the world. A layer of humanity was removed. We were traumatized. I feel like the American government owes us therapy. And you see it in California. I don't agree with everything in California, but a lot of parents got together and complained that, hey, you put our kids in the house for 2 years and then all of a sudden put them back in school and said everything's okay. They need help. So they won a class action lawsuit. And now if you are a parent in California of a school-age child, now there's a certain amount of money allocated to you for your child to get tutored, which I think is dope. So that was part of it. We were frightened. A layer of humanity's been removed. Also, too, a lot of this marijuana and food don't even have seeds in it no more. What is this weird created stuff that's being given to us? I think it's making people weird and gay. or confused. What is seedless watermelon, bro? What is that? Why don't this food have seeds? Y'all eat that? Y'all smoke that? This synthetic created weed people smoking with no seeds, and you wondering why people is weirdos? People zombies, man. Of course somebody's not going to think that there's something just if they intaking things that's confusing their mind. So it's weird, man. I'd love to just get a house and grow a garden. Grow my own food. With a body of water I can fish. And just, you know what I'm saying? There's some weird food out there. So I think it's a 3-part deal. But I really feel like jails and prisons have become the new dumping ground for people with mental illnesses, that they shut down all these facilities. And you got people walking around, don't know they got issues, or you got people walking around, like in my case, they got, not my case, but the young lady I was dating, she's got mental illnesses and hiding them from people because she's ashamed. And that's wrong. That's wrong. I feel like, I said this before, hiding a mental illness from your partner, a mental illness that requires medication, is the same as just like getting gender reassignment surgery and changing your birth certificate and not telling the person that you're with. You got this man shooting in a womb to try to have a baby and nothing's happening. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. Why is she not getting pregnant? You've been clapping in a dude. And then they finally tell you, hey, you know what, had the surgery. And it's like, man, that is the ultimate betrayal. Especially if somebody bringing previous kids into a situation. You got to disclose that. And I get it. It's not always easy to express if you got a mental illness. I just watched this thing with the dude from Wu-Tang, Ghostface Killer, say he had been struggling with paranoid schizophrenia for years, hearing voices. And I'm glad that he's expressing that, because there are, not me, there are people that are dealing with that or have dealt with it, and they just want to see somebody else say, hey, me too, I dealt with that. How do I seek treatment? What'd you do? You know what I'm saying? I've never been on any mental health medication. I've never been, diagnosed with anything like that. Like after I got popped, I had to go for psychiatric testing and, blah, blah, blah. I was sad. I had some PTSD from getting popped, but it wasn't where I've never had any like diagnosed mental illnesses. You know what I'm saying? But have I been depressed? Yes. Do I suffer from depression? No. It's two totally different things. After I got popped and had to move out, and now I'm raising these 3 kids by myself, I felt depressed. I did. But there are steps you can do. I think all of us feel depressed at some time. We feel sad at some time, but to give it a name and say I'm that for the rest of my life, no, I wrote in journals. I went to church. I spent time with family, community. I went to work. I feel like manual labor work is probably a solution for a lot of stuff that people's dealing with mentally. They don't want to go to work. You ever notice the people who are the weirdest and got the most mental issues are people who don't want to work? Or they work a week and they quit, or they had 6 jobs in 2 weeks. They off. They don't want to work. I work and I've been on the same job for a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And it's an incredibly labor intensive job as a truck driver, 3 days a week. I got to get out and deliver. I drive a 48-foot tractor. You know what I'm saying? I pull up. First of all, I got to drive through traffic. I deal with all of that. I arrive at a location. I got to get out. I got to pull everything off. It's milk. I'm delivering to all the Starbucks. I got to deliver milk. I got to deliver. It's at any time, it's maybe 500 to 1,000 gallons of milk, 10 to 20,000 pounds of food and dry product I don't do it every day, a few days a week, but sometimes I'm wore out. But if you working hard, you ain't got time to be, what am I thinking? What am I feeling right now? How do I feel about the world? Man, I got to work. Take your ass to work, dog. There's so many jobs hiring right now, and so many people don't want to work. I feel like as the people who don't want to work, it increases, so do mental health issues. Take your ass to work, dog. Go hit the gym. At least hit the gym. Now, if somebody's sitting on the computer, of course, if you sitting on your computer 8 hours a day, watching what everybody else doing in the world and watching what's happening in the world, and you don't exert any kind of physical energy to get that off of you, of course you're walking around with all these thoughts and, oh man, I don't feel that. I can't compare. And now too, social media has made it to where we used to compare ourselves to people in the community, our neighbors, people at church, school. Now we comparing ourselves to people all around the world. And not only that, we think these people all around the world have a genuine interest in us and our well-being. You think that person in Germany that's liking all your photos and commenting on them is a real person that cares about you? Miss Jones in the neighborhood, 48 years old, fairly attractive, but 30, 40 years ago, she could only compare herself to the women in her neighborhood, church, bingo night, whatever, grocery store. Now she's 48. She got a little body. She posts a picture on Instagram. Somebody in Scandinavia like it and comment. She walking around high off some comment from somebody 4,000 miles away from her. Now they in her DMs. Now it's a total different ball game. She ain't just getting hit on at the grocery store or at the fish market or at church or whatever. Now it's nonstop right here. Like, I'm getting all the attention I need right here. This picture got 48 likes and 6 comments. I'm loved. Maybe I should show a little bit more cleavage. Maybe I should show, what are you giving to the world? You go on my social media platforms, I'm giving you laughter, I'm giving you game, I'm giving you the benefit of my mistakes. I could be on here, I got a nice body. I could be on here showing my chest, you know what I'm saying, on a regular basis. Come on, man. 46 years old with kids. I want them to be able to look at my page, and they do. My daughter was at school. She was like, I told my friends that you were on TV and you did commercials and they didn't believe me. So I went to all your social media pages. She's 12. And I was showing them, this is my dad. Your kids is going to go through your social media. But you got mamas showing everything under the sun because they want these likes from Paul in Scandinavia or Philip in Germany. These people that ain't even real. They don't care nothing about you. But the social media has changed the landscape, which has also changed the mental space of a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So a friend of mine lives in California. Her son got locked up in 2017 or 2018. He's got a mental health concern, right? She kept telling him, hey, he's this, you know, he wasn't on his medication. Got charged with this crime. Well, he got accused of this crime, but California is such a huge prison industrial complex system that it took 6-7 years for his case to finally be heard. She had an attorney, blah, 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 presented all of his information about his mental illness, and then, okay, yeah, we freed him, we sorry. 7 years of his life. You got a mama screaming at y'all. He got a mental health illness. Come on, man. He didn't take his medication. Sorry, he didn't do this. Show proof. They couldn't show proof. Well, we'll get to it. 7 years. She called crying like, man, God finally released my son. I had to get an attorney. You know, she was just rejoicing. Praise the Lord. You know, I've been praying with her all this time. And it's like, man, but what if it was a mental health facility in the neighborhood that, you know, he get into something. It's like, man, we don't know if it's him or not. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's put him in the hospital for a minute till we figure it out. But these people that with mental health concerns is being put in prisons, jails, and they sitting there, sometimes wrongfully accused, or what could help divert their behavior is medication or talk therapy. People don't have places to go no more if you're dealing with that. It's so hard to get a therapist. Trust me, I did therapy 3 years recently. From 2020 to 2023, I was in therapy for 3 years. And I had 3 or 4 different therapists. The insurance kept changing. It was so difficult, but I had to stay headstrong. Like, I want to do this no matter what. And even now with the insurance I got on my job, I was like, man, I want to talk to somebody. I want to get a therapist. My insurance is like, no, you got to have a deductible. You got to pay for your first 15 visits, full cash, and then it kicks in for 50%. It's so confusing. Like, why can't now if my ankle's hurting, I can go in with no issues and get my ankle looked at, X-ray, everything, nothing out of pocket. But I'm telling you that I don't like how I'm thinking. My thoughts is off. I don't like how I feel. And now you're telling me all these hurdles and hoops I got to jump through. So I understand why people are like, man, forget it. It's just too much work. I could just go to the doctor. If my wrist is hurting, I can go there now and get it looked at. But I'm telling you, my head is hurting. Thoughts, oh, well, you got this process. And that's one of the reasons I got in school to be for psychology, to be a therapist. I'm like, dang, there's a need. Look at how hard it is to get therapy. Look at how many people have a stigma against therapy. What does it look like if I just get my degree? I'm already halfway there. I already had like 70 credits at a university, not knowing what I wanted to do, just doing the basic classes. Like, dang, I'm already halfway there. I might as well just finish and do something I really love. And now I'm taking classes and doing something that I really love. Because people out here struggling. Mental health concerns, don't know where to turn, and it ain't always medication. I have to get in the ice tub in the morning. Man, I'm cool the rest of the day. Ice tub for 90 seconds. Write in a journal. Watch your nutrition. Watch what you eat. Drink water. Work out. There's so many things you can do, but so many people are like, man, I just want to take medication, or that's all they really push it is go take meds. There's other stuff that you could do. So, you know, our landscape changed quite a bit, and it's still changing. So I pulled my kids out of California schools in 2022. One of the reasons is that I didn't want one of my son, when he was going to the 8th grade or 7th grade, I think 7th grade, they had this whole new list of vaccines that they wanted him to take. And then it was on the table where they could also make him take that other vaccine. And I was like, man, I don't know if I definitely don't want him to take that other boy, but these new ones, what's this? What is this? Why does he need this? So then, you know, I called up to the school board. I was like, yeah, I don't want him to take these. I don't want him to take these. What kind of exemption paperwork can I fill out? And it was like, you have to talk to your doctor. I said, I can't do like a religious exemption. No. California does not allow religious exemptions for your school-aged child in reference to the vaccines. So you could get a medical exemption. So I took my son to the doctor, told him what I wanted. The doctor was like, we don't do that here. And nobody in your network will do it either. And they was absolutely right. I called other doctors in the network. I was trying to call the insurance company. And it was like, there's nothing. No, we don't issue medical exemption. So dang, you saying the only reason he can be exempt from taking vaccines is to get a medical exemption, but the medical providers refuse to offer it. So it's like either you just have your kids take these vaccines or they can't come to school. That's California. I think California and Mississippi is the only two states where it's like that. So I pulled them out, put my kids in school in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Like moved back to Michigan, and back in Michigan a month, and I had to go back to do a commercial. So now I go back and forth, right? But I got my kids' school in Michigan, and so when they were up to take certain vaccines, I was like, no, I don't want them to take that. It was so easy. I filled out a form. Now I don't agree with that because of my beliefs. Turned it in. They didn't have to take them, and they fine. There's so many new vaccines for these kids now. We don't need them all, man. That's why some of these kids is dealing with XYZ. They don't need them all. You really only need 8. Really. Now I think it's like 32 of them. No, I ain't giving my kid. That's enough. I mean, you've put enough in them. That's fine. We're not doing no more. And I should be able to live in a state that allows me to do that. I should be able to parent my child. And what's happening in California now is California is not allowing their parents to parent their kids. They're becoming the parents. That's why Elon Musk is pulling SpaceX and the Tesla program or whatever you got going on, even the Twitter piece, he pulling it out of Cali because of this new law, this CALI law, AB 1955. Basically, it's giving the child control about how he or she wants to identify themselves. A youth. Look up this CALI law, AB 1955. It's dangerous when you start to pass laws and legislature to that's not of God. That is empowering children to make decisions for them, for their bodies and themselves. Why can't, when you can't even get a tattoo unless you're 18. You can't get a driver's license unless you're 16. But some choices, you're saying some of these other choices are okay for children, 12, 13, when they can't even get a tattoo at 18? It's scary. Now, I'm not negating nobody's feelings. If you feel a certain type of way, whatever. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But conversational therapy, it should be some other pieces involved to kind of explore what's going on in somebody's mind for them to feel a certain type of way. But when you start to pass laws and say that how you're feeling is accurate, it's cool to feel that way, and now you can make choices based on those feelings. I had road rage the other day. You know what I'm saying? Somebody cut me off. I'm in the truck, 48-foot trailer behind me. I'm in a semi truck. One dude pulled over, cut me off. Another dude, and they jumped out the car and threw their hands up. And I opened the door. I was getting out of the truck for hands. And then I would remember, like, oh, there's a camera on me. And then there's a camera on the people that pulled up. And then there's a lady next to me in a white Jeep Cherokee videotaping me too. Like, is this Negro going to get out and put hands on these guys? If so, I'm putting it on TikTok. I'm like, let me get back in the truck and calm down. Inhale, exhale. I had a feeling. I felt like putting hands on somebody, which for a split second made me ignore that it was a camera on me. Like, I was at that point. I was stressed. Deep breath. Said a confession, and I just started praying, God, please help me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that to say just because I felt a certain way in that time does not allow me the privilege of just doing whatever I want because I feel a certain type of way. Since when are we controlled by our thoughts and feelings? That's why I like watching Inside Out 1 and 2 with my kids, because you got all this stuff going on in your head, all these, you know, feelings, anxiety, anger, joy, and it was like everybody in this character's head was talking at the same time. It was like people. But joy kept it all together. It's a dope movie to watch, but it's a clear explanation about what be going on in our brain sometimes. You ain't got to believe everything your brain telling you. But when you signing laws into place that's telling children it's okay to believe everything in your brain. Yes, maybe you can't, you are this, or you could do that. And it's like, come on. Then you're taking the power away from the parents. It's a reason that you can't drive till you 16. It's a reason you can't get tattoos till you 18. There's a reason that certain things are age related. You can't drink till you 21. But when you begin to take the power away from parents, I couldn't even submit paperwork to keep my kids from getting certain vaccines. Because I felt, and I did the research, they don't need that. They already had this, and this. They don't need it. But you telling me that in order for me to send these kids to this school, they have to have it? I can't make a choice as their parent? It's dangerous. It's dangerous. We getting to the point now we can't even have freedom of speech. The dislike button was taken from off of here. Why? Why we can't see what the American public don't like? It's okay. Like, it completely became one-sided during the pandemic. No more dislike button. Bring the dislike button back. I don't even mind if people dislike my stuff. Matter of fact, I'm so for freedom of speech. That's why I don't pull comments from my pages. Somebody hit me the other day like, man, you made a post on such and such, and man, it was like 50% of it was negative. It was people saying this about you. Yeah, and I left them. You're on my page. So I put it out there. It's an opinion, but you on my page. You driving my engagement, which I appreciate. But also, too, I'm going to let you be you on my page. Now, if you saying something, too wild, violent against my family or something crazy, I might pull that off. But 99% of the comments, positive or negative, I leave them on my channel. I'm letting other people see them. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and say I want freedom of speech, but then screen people on my page and take off negative comments or people who don't agree. You ain't got to agree with me. Since when do we come the type of people that have to agree with everybody we around? Agree with everything. It's weird even down to this presidential election. Like, you voting for this person, if you vote, I can't be cool with you if you or this or that. Why? Why can't I have my own thought process? Why can't I have my own opinion? That's why I don't censor y'all. You leave it in the comments, you put it in the comments, I leave it there. That's your opinion. Maybe somebody else agrees with you. But life is checks and balances. That's why I think we need to bring back old school debate teams on TV, not just presidential debates, but we should have open forum debates on, racism, on this whole thing that's happening in California with the AB 1955 law and gender issues. And we should have open forms of communication for people to just talk freely and say their opinion on something and stop calling people's opinion misinformation. Because if it's 20,000 people saying the same thing, is it really misinformation? Or is it just different information? I'll leave all your comments up. Bring the dislike button back. Type in the comments if you want to bring the dislike button back. Or type in the comments something negative. If you're a man and you leave paragraphs of comments on someone else's page, that's kind of an estrogen trait. I'm not mad at you. I'll be looking at him like, oh, my God, this is hilarious. This is a man.
Hey, Mac B, can you run to the store and get some woods?
Yeah. No, that's cool. I also need to grab some Sweet Baby Ray's for the barbecue that I'm making in the back. Who got the money?
Go see Tony outside. Get his credit card.
All right. Yeah, I got you. I'm going to holler at him. I'll be right back.
A few minutes later.
All right, man. I got it. Y'all ready?
Man, what is that?
Sweet Baby Ray's.
No, what's in your other hand?
Oh, this is Blue Rhino gas station boner pills, man. Everybody gonna be wood.
Man, I don't know what you heard. I said get wood so we can smoke.
Man, it is a sausage party in here, man. Where are the hoes?
See, this is when I went to St. Martin in November.
Ooh, St. Martin.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that bikini. Ooh, let me zoom in. Ooh, I'm gonna need to see you in this.
You want to see me in it?
Ooh, wee, look at that. God.
Where you want to take me?
Oh my God, that vacation was so fun. Like, that vacation was so fun, Mom.
Tell me about this tattoo on your chest right here.
Oh, this one right here. This it says there is no life without pain. It means how life has pain. You know what I'm saying? Tell me about your tattoos.
This was super painful. This hurt the most.
Mom, remember when I got my tattoo and it hurt? Like, where is your shirt at?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm blessed.
Oh, yeah, you are blessed.
What don't you understand? She's blessed. You're the third person who answered this week.
There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with freedom of speech. Did y'all see Jaylen Brown on the sidelines watching the game? He got his girl with him, and he's talking about Bronny, and he keeping it a buck. Like, I don't think Dog is ready for the league, and this, that, and the third. So it's like somebody taping him, and they reading his lips, and then they just kind of blew it up. Like, look what Jaylen Brown said. And I love what he did. He went on social media and stood on what he said. Yeah, I said that. He ain't ready. Since y'all want to videotape me watching the game, you want to read my lips. Yeah, I said that. He ain't ready. And he's absolutely right. And not only that, he's right. He has a right to his opinion. He's talking to people. It's like a private conversation. So you record my private conversation, read my lips, put it on blast. That's foul. But I love that he stood on it. I'm entitled to my opinion. He ain't ready. And he absolutely right. Dog is not ready. 2 points a game. He ain't hit 1 3-pointer. Come on, man. He ain't ready. And the whole world know it. We just at a point now where we are being trained to not believe our eyes. Are you kidding me? I mean, the AI software and all this deep fake and all this other stuff, it's like slowly but surely we are being told not to believe our eyes or not to believe what, like, come on, bro. Look at Dog, man. He ain't ready. He's not. Why are y'all trying to force this down our throat? In a perfect world, it would be great to see my man's play with his son. And I think it's still going to happen because they're going to force it. But when we watch, it's like, what? My man's is a hustler for sure. But is he ready for the league? What if he go to the G League and start and only hitting 2 3-points a game? Because to get out of the G League, you need to show it. I think the G League is going to be dangerous for Dog. If they put Bronny James in the G League, that's going to be a mistake. And I don't think Rich Paul is going to let that happen. Because if he touches the G League, It's over. It's over. Because he going to do the same numbers. Look, on a top level, he doing the same thing he was doing in college. So on a top college team, USC, he's scoring the same. And if you look at points per game, college level, he ain't even scoring what Michael Jordan's son was scoring. So if you do the same thing in college, the same thing in the summer league, if you go to do the same thing in the G League, it's going to look bad. Like, wait a minute, this is 3 different situations. Can he do it? I'm never the person to say, I don't think he ever can. But it's a steep road. And I think Jaylen Brown it's fine for him to give his commentary on what he feels. He's a top-notch NBA player. Like, no, he ain't got it. He don't have it. Also want to say that I got more in common with Trump than I do with the other guy, because me and Trump both got baby mamas and we both done been popped. So, and wrongfully accused of stuff. I feel I'm entitled to that opinion. It's so funny when you mention that name, people get polarized and they just back away. So are you a Trumper? Are you like, I ain't telling people who I'm voting for. I know who I'm voting for. I'm going to pray my godly conviction and vote for the person who God tells me to vote for and leave the rest there. I ain't going to lie. I voted for Obama and wished I wouldn't have, because I watched him do more for one community than the black community. So don't sell me this, that, oh man, you got to. And the next time I voted for, I wrote in names just to say I voted. D's nuts, bunch of other weird stuff. I just voted that, like, okay, just to say I voted. Just be careful what you see and read in the media, because a lot of words are being twisted. So like this 20-year-old dude, I don't even know his name, that tried to unalive Trump. They were putting these reports out there saying, first of all, no matter what side you on, I don't want to see violence against nobody just because you're running for a specific office. That was really kind of weird to see. No matter what, nobody deserves to lose their life over their beliefs. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you believe, fine. So the dog that was on the roof clapping at him, they put out this report saying, yeah, he was a registered Republican. He's part of the Republican Party. And then everybody ran with this narrative like, man, his own party is trying to. Okay, he's 20 years old. That means he's never voted in a presidential election. You got to be 18 to vote. The last election was 2000. 2000, dog was what, 16? So just because he was registered as a Republican, now I wouldn't even claim Republican or Democrat, to be honest, man. I love God and I want to obey what he's saying. That's who I am. But I just hate false narratives. He was a Republican. His own party is the one who tried to unalive him. He never voted in a presidential election. So what do you mean? Man, you know what? Whoever is going to win is going to be the one that God puts in office. God's always in control. Psalms 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they who dwell therein. God is always in control, no matter what it looked like. If you see my girl on stage with Usher, she better have a hazmat suit on. All right? When I get money, crazy money, and I buy Cullinan, I'm going to hire somebody to talk to people for me. Hey, man, that's the show. I love y'all because I love myself.